Greetings, Mythics, how are we? Yes, it is another Saturday. It is 10 AM, although I'm 5 minutes late, sorry about that. My name is McCarbre, and this is the Edra Tales Twitch channel. Plus, if you miss any of these live streams, I do export them all over to the Edra Tales YouTube channel. And if you want to find out more about my creative projects, go to edratales.com and you can look at everything there. This is Loquacious. My name is McCarbre. Loquacious from the Bottled In, but yes, we have another YouTube channel, me and my friend Julian, although we haven't posted for a long time because we don't get time. But there is over 450 fantasy goodness videos. Yes, fantasy board game reviews, fantasy film reviews, and fantasy book reviews. Good morning, Sally. How are you? As you can tell, I've just woken up. Literally just woken up. I'm all stiff. Steady. Yeah, my back. I was like, woke up going, like I slept well, but I'm just like, So, this should be fun. How are you, Martha? Steals Ken's money pouch. Yoink. Wait. Martha. Yes. And Spelsing. How are you, sir? How are you, Spelsing? Sally's just woken up too. Good stuff. We've all just woken up. Although Leerin's probably been up, if he's here, a while. How is everybody? Hopefully you're doing well. It's another Saturday. And February's marching on. All the better for catching this stream. Oh, well, that's very kind of you, Spelsing. I appreciate that. Nope. Oh, Martha's been up since 4 AM. 4 AM. Was it one of those occasions where you suddenly wake up and you're like, and you're just so wide awake that you just get up? I've done that before. Not often. I don't like getting up pre 7 o'clock. Even, ideally, I'd never get up before 8 o'clock. But, obviously, sometimes you have to get up early. Look at my hair. You have to get up early. Nope, haven't slept almost all night long. Stomach issues. Oh, sorry to hear that, Martha. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, there's a difference between falling asleep, naturally, normally, and then waking up at 3, 4 in the morning and not being able to get back to sleep. Or, staying up a couple of hours and then getting back to sleep. And the difference between that and being ill, like not sleeping because you're ill. Yeah, that's not very good. That's not very good. So, how's everybody? What have you been up to? Have you been cracking on with any projects? I have had quite a difficult week, really, to be honest. My dad was taken to hospital. Everything's fine-ish now. They suspect he had pneumonia, but he also had a bit of internal bleeding, which wasn't good. I don't normally talk about this sort of stuff, but I guess it's part of life, isn't it? People getting ill, people having illnesses. So luckily they gave him a blood transfusion. The bleeding had stopped. But then this pneumonia, so he's on antibiotics, so he's still in hospital. So it's been one of those weird weeks where there's not a lot you can do as a person. I went to see him. Sally and I went to see him, and then I stayed up a couple more days. I did take my laptop, and I did write some of my book, some of my Sleepy Eye, The Rat Wife of Sleepy Eye. But it's kind of weird, because you have that, well, Dad's in hospital, but I've got to get on with my life, sort of internal battle. So it's been a weird week. It's been a weird week, because I've had that on my mind, but I have finished The Rat Wife of Sleepy Eye. Here it is. 20,000 words, just over 20,000 words. 130 133 entries, so that's good. God, I've got a very dry mouth. Let me have a cup of tea. Woohoo! Yes, thank you, Sally. I take it that's for the book, not for my dad. Just joking. Yeah, so the book. So this is the free ebook that people are going to get if they backed my project and Jam's project. We've got a list of those people. And also, the good news is it will be printed and available for sale. So the people that backed my project and Jam's project, you're going to get a free printed copy now as well. Because obviously we didn't know we were going to sell it to the public. That wasn't the plan. It was just going to be an exclusive. So we just thought, well, if you get a free copy as well, hopefully you'll be fine with that. These things change, unfortunately. So you're going to get an ebook and a physical printed copy when it comes out. But you'll get it before other people. You'll get it, the backers should get it first. And then, yes, so I have finished this. However, I still have a few little things to tweak on this. What I want to do is with all entries, and it's been an interesting writing this one compared to Kill a Thief, because To Kill a Thief is a much bigger game book, as you know, it's huge. It's nearly 100,000 words, so I had more entries to kind of build the world, put more stuff in it. I guess put more character depth for the characters that you meet. There's definitely more character depth. With this one, 100k, that is epic. Well, I might as well show you then. Yes, I have the other bit of news. Yes, I have got the hardback. Here we go, hardback from the printers, and also the paperback has now arrived from the printers, so we're all good. It's all good. I know Spell Sing, I know, even though I do say it to myself. I know, it looks I'm very happy with the way it's come out. If I was to criticise it, and I shouldn't, but if I was to criticise it, some of my inside illustrations I felt I could have done better. But you have to weigh up between the amount of time it took me to do this, plus should I sit and redo, 2 or 3 illustrations. So hopefully everybody will like it. Good morning, Lee Rin, or good evening, Lee Rin. Nice to have that physical copy. Yes, it is. It is really nice to finally finish it. There's a lot of work that goes into these. I wrote it, I did the cover, I did all the illustrations. So that's just my side of stuff. Then we have the people that play tested it, especially Julian. Julian play tested it. The other people play tested it as well, so thank you for that. Then we've got Sally, who proofread it twice, so that's quite an amazing achievement. And also Claire, my friend Claire, who is a professional proofreader. She proofread it. So, and I proofread it as much as I could. So there's a lot of work that has gone into this. And then, of course, there's still the work that I put into doing the Kickstarter, getting all the images ready for that. Writing all the blurb, thinking up all of the rewards. So you certainly do earn your money when you do Kickstarter, because people think, oh, Kickstarter, it's easy doing a Kickstarter. Just do a Kickstarter. And it so isn't. I'm not complaining, but I am complaining, because, so I'm not complaining. It's just a lot of work. But the rewards are that then if people think your book is good enough or your product is good enough, you can then bring it into the world, Not looking forward to walk out in the snowstorm. And remember, Ken, we can't roll a 1. Yeah, let me just double check that I changed that. Let's just double check that. It's too late now anyway, even if I haven't changed it. Yes, roll 2d12. Oh. Yeah. It starts on 2. There we go, yeah. Just double checking, sorry. Yeah, it starts on 2, so we'll have none of that, says Martha. So, yes, so it's been really interesting writing this book, which is a bigger book, it's broader, it's more in-depth, to writing The Rat Wife of Sleepy Eye. Because The Rat Wife of Sleepy Eye was always meant to be a shorter game book. You know, Jam and I said, well, let's do roughly 100 entries. I think Jam's went to 200 entries. So it's like half a game book. So mine's 133. So it's been an interesting beast. So what I'm going to do is, so the next thing that I'm going to be doing on this is, I'm going to be going back through some of the entries to add a little bit more depth to the character and the story. Because you do play the Rat Wife of Sleepy Eye. You are a cunning woman. You have the ability to charm small creatures with your pipes of charming. And I'm going to be layering in, as you go down the adventure, memories. So I'm going to have it where you remember stuff. Backstory stuff, basically. And also, I'm going to be, without giving the story away, but I'm going to give, and there's another element that I'm going to be layering in as well. So that hopefully should increase the reader-player connection with the character that you're playing, with the book that you're reading, to give it a little bit more depth. So, where is Jam? I know, where is Jam? Exactly. Jam, where are you? Where's Jonathan as well? Lyrin's put, so very glad to live. What? Hang on. So very glad to live to see next week the first made for IMAX Taiwanese action film. Oh, cool. That without Hollywood films over the next 2 months to force it into the grindhouse size tiny theatre will be the epic that it's meant to be seen as. Oh, that sounds great. That sounds great. Enjoy that one, Lirin. Yeah. Like repressed memories. Nice. Yeah, it's going to be sort of melancholy, bittersweet memories that you'll, every now and again, you'll just get a flavour. Because I think when you're playing game books, well, when you're reading a novel, you need to connect emotionally, don't you, to the characters, especially the main character. And so when you're playing a game book, you are the main character. So you need to sort of roughly know what you are. You know, are you a thief? Are you a wizard? Are you a, and then, but then to bring it out of the generic, you're a generic thief, you're a generic wizard, you're a generic rat wife. You need to make it personal. So you need to sort of build in the character's backstory and a bit, and their ambitions and their desires and their character. So even though you're playing the rat wife, you can sort of play out of character because of the decisions that you make, but the way that you lace in, you'll probably play it a certain way. But I might be wrong. I might be wrong. But yes, I want to give a little bit more in depth to it, because it's in essence, it's a bit of a dungeon crawler. In essence, so you're basically getting from A to B, because I thought, right, I need a plot that's not as in depth as this, and so it can't be too complicated. So you're just trying to get from A to B basically, and you're not quite sure where B is. Yeah, so you kind of have to just like go through different ways to get to it. And so I thought, yeah, I need something a bit more emotionally engaging. Am of the library before they close. Oh, you're off to the library before they close. Yes, go for it. We do love a good library. So, thank you for popping in, Martha. I appreciate that, if you're going to the library. What books are you getting? Do you know which books are you getting, or are you just going to have a good look around? So it's been, again, you learn every time you do a bit of writing or a bit of creativity. You learn from it, and so I did enjoy writing this, although I did feel a little bit of pressure to get it done, which maybe is not a bad thing. And as I say, it was a bit of a strange week because my dad's in hospital. Yeah, I'm writing this, so I had to sort of put that to one side. But I am going to go and see him tomorrow, so he should. I mean, he's doing okay. He's doing okay. So that is The Rat Wife of Sleepy Eye, with the hardbacks and also the paperbacks. Now, with the paperbacks, so the good thing, I had two issues with my printer's copies. One was that they messed up this bit here. They kind of extended the cover without my say-so, which was a bit like, well, thanks. You know. So they did. They were very good at correcting it, though. They were very good at correcting it. So they gave me the size. Now, what I think they've done is they gave me the actual spine size. They gave me the cover size, which is sort of here to here. But then there's this little extra bit that they didn't tell me about. You see, as it dimples in, it's part of the way that the book is bound. That bit here, that ridge. So they gave me from there to there. But of course, you've got like 4-5 millimeters either side of the cover. Either side. So what they did was they sliced some of that cover, flipped it over and put it there to make it... It's like, yikes, I'm off to the I am off to the library. That was what I tried to say. Yes, enjoy yourself, Martha. And I was going to say, thank you for popping in. So yeah, if you got time, let us know. Are you going for a particular book, or are you just looking, just browsing? So I made the cover bigger, and so they did a very good job. Very happy with the printing on this and the production values on this. Very, very happy. I am happy. However, there is still that little QR code on the bottom, which I didn't ask to be put on. So I asked them about it, and they said, yeah, when you tick and check your artwork and all that, and you confirm that it's fine, it does say, they said, by the way, we might put a QR code on the back of your cover. But I didn't really read that. It's not overly prominent. And in my brain, I'm like, well, why would you put this on? And it's apparently to do with they actually, this printer has other printers that take their overflow, apparently, you know, or small runs, and so that company put. And by the time I placed the order and you know, because I asked them about it, but they didn't get back to me, so I placed the order, and then I just said, oh, okay, so I'm assuming it's not going to be on there because I've asked for it not to be on there. they then came back and said, "Oh no, the order's gone through. It's too late now. You know, we're not going to offer any refunds. We're not going to do anything." So I'm like, "Oh, okay." So hopefully you don't mind. To be honest, I mean, I was a bit like disappointed when they put it on initially. It's very small, and then when I got it back this time, I went, "Oh, okay, it's very small. It's very discreet." So unfortunately, it's got that on there. However, that leaves me in a dilemma. Do I use this printer again, or do I go elsewhere? I'll have to think about that, because I do ultimately want to get some more books printed for me to sell on book fairs. Sally's put, I would imagine most people ignore it. I know, and I agree with you. Most people would. For me, though, it's one of those perfection things. You know, I am a bit of a perfectionist. But I just think it's taking the mickey, isn't it? I don't know. It's like if I had some paintings that I was selling at an auction, and I gave it to the auction house, and I said, right, I'd like you to sell those paintings. And then before they sold them, they put a sticker on the front of each one, you know, like a proper sticker that was hard to take off and would leave a residue. And then they sold it with the sticker on. You'd go, whoa, why have you put a sticker on that? That's not how I wanted it to be. That is, you know, that you've sold it to someone with a sticker on. You just wouldn't do it, you know. I will investigate into it when it comes in my mail by scanning it. Yeah, I tried scanning it, but it didn't seem to... I don't know if it's a QR code. I don't know. It looks like a QR code, but I tried scanning it. It didn't quite work. It didn't take me anywhere. It didn't quite work. It just couldn't focus in on it. Now, maybe I didn't try for long enough. If that's the only thing, that's the issue. You can opt to not have it. Then I'd stick with the printer. No, I don't think you have the option. It doesn't give you the option. It just says, by the way, you might get a QR code on it. I'll look into that, because I didn't really read that bit, but yeah, I'll have a look. But also, when I asked about it via an email to an actual person that works there, they said that they ignored it. And then when I brought it up after I placed the issue, they said, oh, by the way, yeah, you still haven't answered my question about the QR code. They said, oh, no. Before I placed this code, but I asked about it, they did say, I think he said, oh, I'll have a look into that. He said, we should be able to remove it, but it will cost you more money. And I replied saying, oh, that's a bit strange. You're going to cost me more money to take off something that wasn't on the cover, and you're going to charge me for doing a service that I didn't ask for. And he didn't reply to that. Someone else took over. Do you see what I mean? So I misunderstood. Yeah. So it was all a bit sort of weird. And then when I said, right, okay, if I do get that, they said, no, we don't offer refunds. We don't. So I'm thinking I might just take my business elsewhere. But the problem with that is that then you have to find another printer. Although Matador, there's a company called Matador. Anywho, so, so everything is coming up roses. The next couple of weeks I shall be putting together little bundles and then wrapping them up and posting them off to the post office, to the backers. You should be getting the books, I would say, sort of mid-March. I'm not going to put too much of a deadline on it, but certainly by the end of March, everybody should have everything, I'm hoping. I am still waiting for the dice to come back, but I should find out about them Monday, or at least what's going on about the dice on Monday. So it's all good fun. It's all good fun. It's all coming together. What I might do, though, is send out... Exciting times. Well done, Ken. Thank you very much, Spellsing. It is. But it's also sort of relieved because it has been over a year since I promised them. When did we do it? October 2024. I said that I would get the books out to everybody sort of May, June time in 2026. Oh, sweet summer child. If I knew now what I knew, what I didn't know then. So where are we then? May or June, then it's 2025, so that's a year. June, so it's about a year and a half. See, that's, for me, that's quite a long time to have delayed it. Yeah, good things come to those that wait. Oh, well, thank you. But this is what I find. There's a lot of patient people out there. When I've backed projects that have been late, I've been patient. You know, I think Jonathan Green's Shakespeare versus Cthulhu, I think that was delayed. And I think that you do have to remember that with Kickstarter. It's not just a pre-order service. There's no guarantee at all that the projects are going to come to fruition either. So you could lose your money. In fact, I backed 2 projects that, I just lost my money. Luckily, they weren't that expensive. Something like 30 quid. Well, that's still quite a lot of money, I guess. And 20 quid. It was something like that. So, you know, I just had to go, okay, well, that just never happened. Those projects. Plus, there was an art book that is really gorgeous, but the guy, it was something like delayed 5 years. And of course, the problem with that is that people were cancelling. You know, he was offering money back. And so you know, it becomes a bit of a nightmare when you get into that situation, because you're trying desperately to get the project done. It was a book of his artwork. I think it was a brand new artwork as well. It wasn't like old artwork they'd already got, so he had to just typeset it and put it together. He was actually painting them as well, and he's a digital artist, but they're really good. And so he, you know, it just took him that long to do, and then he moved halfway through. You know, that eats up time. So it's sort of with all the best intentions, and I think that's the main thing. As long as you're going in with the best intentions of getting your project done, you know, you should end up finishing it. But luckily, it didn't take me 5 years. Only a year and a half late. So I've learned from that, though. I've learned from that because the next game, because I say I'm going to start writing before the Kickstarter, you know, before the actual Kickstarter month. And then hopefully, you know, I'll have most of it finished, or a lot of it finished, or even the book is finished. I just need to do the illustrations or something like that. You know, the book is finished, I've done the illustrations, and I just need to typeset it. So you know, that's a better way of doing it. And it won't be 100,000 words. It'll be nearer, you know, 40,000 words, maybe 50,000 words. So it'll be half the size. So that's what I've learned from Kickstarter. So there we go. So it's all good. It's all good. I'm going to have another cup of tea. So, even though I said I'm going to go back and add in some memories, that shouldn't take too long, because I've got to find a balance. I don't want to, you know, every entry, you don't want to go, oh, look, here's another memory, here's another memory, here's another memory, because then it will lose its power. You know, that the sort of, I want you to emotionally connect to these memories. So, I'm going to sprinkle them through, so that shouldn't take me too long. I do need to look at the mechanics again and just make sure that I've got enough, you know, combat in there, which I've got enough combat in there. But other things like vigor tests, you know, other skill tests, basically. So there's, you know, this should be finished fairly soon, which leaves me in a kind of weird sort of position because I've got a lot of projects, but they're kind of at a standstill. Spellsinger's put it, mine should hit 50k when finished. I did not know you were writing one. Did I know that? Have you let us know that before, Spellsing? Mine should hit 50k when finished and will be one of 3, so a trilogy. Well, congratulations, Spellsing. That's fantastic. Are you like... Spellsing, are you actually Ian Livingston, but just under a different name? Is that what it is? Is it? And all this time I just didn't know who you were. Do I actually know you in real life? Is this what's going on? Have I known this? Have you ever told me? Have you ever told anyone this? Do you want to elaborate more on the name of it? Have you written any before? Have you got some published out there already before? Have you kick-started? Tell us. Tell us. Tell us. Tell us. I'm going to bully you into that. Yeah, so I'm in a sort of strange situation where I've laid lots of seeds. I've planted lots of seeds, and so I'm kind of waiting for them all to grow. So my my board game, Devilish Deaths, which is a murder mystery board game, that is... I'm waiting for one publisher to get back to me. Hopefully they've play tested it by now. You know, they've played it by now, demoed it by now. They are a Czech Republic company. And I've got a meeting with another company, a UK-based company, to discuss it. Because they already do murder mystery games, but they're looking for something slightly different to what they already do. Which this hopefully will fit the criteria. So that's kind of just sitting there. Then we've got my Christmas Carol game. Well, actually, yeah, games that are pretty much finished. Then I've got my Fat Cat game, which is... I need to play test it 1 or 2 more times, but that's pretty much done. So what I'm going to be doing is entering that into the UK game speed dating. Spellsinger's put it... I'm Sir Ian in disguise. Yeah, we need receipts for that if you're going to make bold claims like that. No, not really. Plus, hope to meet some of you good people at the Fighting Fancy Fest. Yeah, exactly. Not sure I've mentioned it before, but yeah, I just love writing game books. I feel like you're sort of, you know, you've written like 20 game books and you're very well established in the industry. So... Well, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. I don't think you have mentioned that before. I don't think... I'm pretty sure I would have remembered. But, you know, maybe not. Maybe not. My memory isn't brilliant at times. Well, that's fantastic. Yeah. You should hit 50k. 50k seems to be like, I guess, the average of a game book. I can't remember what Jonathan said a game book would, like, a Fighting Fancy game book is. Maybe it's like 40 to 50k, yeah. Well, that's brilliant. So is that book 1 of a trilogy? My thinking... Nope. I'm a big nobody. Oh. But we'll try to get my trilogy on Amazon one day. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I do need to talk to Jonathan, actually, to see if I can get a little stall at Fighting Fancy Fest. What was I going to say? Yes, it's interesting you're doing a trilogy. I would just give a word of warning if it's not... Well, it's up to you, obviously. But I'm doing all mine standalone. Because when you're a small publisher, you know, when you're a small independent, you're a small indie, what you've got to bear in mind is that if you're not going to do stalls and stuff like that, then that's fine. But if you're going to do festivals where you're selling your books on a stall, then for me, if they're all standalone, then I can say, yeah, pick each one. They're all standalone. You don't have to follow a narrative. You don't have to follow a story. You're not leveling up your character from book to book. So for me, it was just a lot easier because they might see To Kill a Thief and not really be that attracted to it, but they might see, for example, if I am going to be selling these, the rat wife of Sleepy Eye, you know, and go, oh, that's more of an appealing story to me. Whereas somebody might go, oh, I much rather play it To Kill a Thief than I would play the rat wife of Sleepy Eye. So I was, you know, going to write various different books that are all standalone, but they do share the same universe. So if you do get into the series, you will start seeing familiarities, and probably I'm going to do crossover characters as well. Sally's put, that's great, Spell Sing, look forward to reading it. Cheers, Sally. Yeah, a trilogy, as I love characters progression like Jackson's Sorcery Epic. Yeah, I'm not saying they don't work. I'm just saying I decided against that, because if you are going to sell them on a stall, it's you don't have to make, because you might not have, you know, you're always going to have to make sure you've got stock of book 1, book 2. This is just my harsh reality that I learnt the hard way, because when I did my Grimace Ironblood book, that's book 1 and I've not written book 2 yet. So I feel pretty bad. Lehman's put, Joe Dinsmore's sorcery extend over 20 books. Now that was a Promethean feat. It was. I'm not saying they don't work. Of course they do, and you've got examples there. Cheers with advice, Ken. Appreciate it. Yeah. But if you want to do a trilogy, do a trilogy. Because I was tempted to do a trilogy, absolutely. Or at least 2 books. I think I was going to do part 1 and part 2. But just from a practical point of view, I decided, no, I'm going to make them all standalone, because then people can just pick and choose, and they don't feel like they have to read them in a certain order, or they have to, you know, start with one particular book and then read the next one. That's the same thing, isn't it? So there we are. But good luck with those. Yeah, let us know when that first one gets published. Are you thinking of kickstarting them? I said it's a lot of work, but it can be done. And that's a good way to cover your printing costs. And if you're going to ask, you know, are you illustrating them yourself? Can you typeset it? You know, there's all those other questions that you've got to ask yourself. You know, how am I going to get this done? Do I need to pay other people, or am I going to do it myself? You know, do you have the skills to do it yourself? I'm lucky in that respect, because, you know, I've worked as a graphic designer, so I kind of know what I'm doing there. But not everybody is and does. So, but you know, you can learn stuff nowadays because of YouTube. There's pretty much videos on how to do most things, isn't there? So you could, if you wanted to, if you've never typeset a book before, you could learn how to do it. And printers are much more open to sort of different ways to receive files. When I was back in the day, when we changed from I can't remember what they were, film. It was actual film. We used to develop film, and then you'd have the film documents, and we would bite them over to the printer. So it would be on this film that they would then take and convert, and then convert into litho sheets, metal sheets, and then they would print the magazine, or they'd print whatever, you know, posters, whatever we were doing. But then I was of that generation that then saw the PDFs coming in, you know, the documents, and they were very specific. The early, you know, PDFs, they had to be of a certain type. They had to have, you know, well, they still have to have bleed and stuff like that on it. But then I noticed, because of the explosion of self-publishing, people are like, yeah, just send a Word document, don't worry. You know, so people that didn't know how to do it, the printers adapted and went, yeah, we'll take this, we'll take that, you know. So I don't mind proofreading it for you if you need. Wow, Sally, are you sure? Hey, you're my proofreader. Wow, okay. That is very kind of you, Sally. So yeah, so I've got my other projects that are sort of just there. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 games that are just waiting to be sort of published, that are kind of pretty much finished. You guys are just too good. I know, it's lovely. Well, and also, I think you have to help each other out. So yeah, if you do need to, and I always say to Jonathan and Jam and Joseph Daniels, or anyone that's written a book, a novel, you know, if it's fantasy, then it kind of relates to the group. So, you know, if you want to put a post up into the group, I'm more than happy to do that, you know, or a couple of posts. Every now and again, Jonathan will put a post about, you know, Shakespeare versus Cthulhu or one of his other game books. Jam, you know, does that as well. So yeah, you got to help each other. So, and then I'm gearing up. As I say, I'm gearing up to put stuff on to UK Games speed dating application, which opens on the 1st of March. So if you have a game that is ready-ish, by the time UK Games comes round, which is at the end of May, is it the end of May? Yeah, the end of May, the beginning of June, you have to have a prototype that you can show them that you've play tested. So the application's open on the 1st of March, and you'll need a sell sheet, which I will show you what a sell sheet is. It's basically just one A4 side. Just it's like a summary of the game, basically. So there's my sell sheet for this one. Oh, there's my contact details. So basically, yeah, it just goes through the overview, the selling points, you know, why they should take your game. I put what the components are, the atmosphere, you know, what it's like when you play it, the mechanics, you know, is it hidden movement, is it trick taking, whatever the mechanics are in your game. And then I put case 1, so specifically case 1, and then my contact details. And then you are also, you're meant to put your rules in there as well, but it's a cut down version of your rules if they go over 2 sides of A4. So you would, so for example, this game does go over 2 sides of A4, so I just cut it right down. And then and then if they do want to play it, then you say, yeah, you had the cut down rules because of the nature of the beast. Here's how you have to, you know, this is the full game, if you like. So I am going to enter, as I say, at least 3 games for that. One of which is going to be, and I have been banging on about it because it's gearing up. We're gearing up to actually focus fully. It is a Christmas Carol. It's a Christmas Carol. I got this edition in America. I'm pretty sure it's an American version. Harper and Row Publishers. Christmas Carol and the Chimes. 2 Christmas stories. So, my Christmas Carol game book. Christmas Carol game book. So that is ongoing. I've been developing it for a while now, for a good couple of years actually, but it's been one of these things that what I've decided to do is have a main project that I'm working on, and then other projects might pop up. Yeah, they're sort of not as main focused. So my main focus obviously has been To Kill a Thief. So now that that's almost complete, I can now focus back onto A Christmas Carol. Yeah, because while To Kill a Thief was being proofread, I couldn't work on it. So it's a case of me going, right, I might as well spend my time, you know, doing another project. So I've started to expand on this, my Christmas Carol game. And it's going to be a worker placement game where you play as a moneylender. You were once an apprentice of Scrooge's, and now you're going to, you know, you're going to actually go out into the world. You're going to earn your own money. You know, you've got a family, or you've got a wife or a husband, depending on which character, you know, what you play. And you want to start a family, so you can adopt children from the orphanages. You can also take on your own apprentices, but you have to build an extension onto your house. Can't wait to see the fat cat. Yes, that's been good as well. So with the Christmas Carol, I wanted to create a game that gave you those moral dilemmas. So in the game, you're going to meet most of the characters from the book, and there's actually a lot of characters in the book, even though it's a novella. So you're going to meet those, you're going to befriend those, they're going to give you special abilities, all of that, and, you know, help you out. However, just like some friends, if your status changes, they might leave you. So, for example, if you befriend Bob Cratchit or Tiny Tim, you have to be in the virtuous side of the track. I'm going to have this score track. So you befriend them because you meet their criteria. But if you then start doing mean things and you get more corrupted, you're going to go into the corrupt side, or the mean side, and then they're just gonna leave you because you haven't fulfilled their criteria. So hopefully that will give you those dilemmas of going, well, I've used Bob Cratchit, you know, his help for a number of turns now. I don't mind if he just disappears, you know, because I want to do this that's going to take me into the corrupt side. So there's that sort of thing going on. I'm going to have trading as well, because Scrooge was a commodities trader, apparently, from what I can gather, what I picked up. So again, there'll be like a space on the board to trade. So there's going to be, so it's a worker placement game, but I want player interaction as well. I do like it when players interact, that it's not that dry sort of, you know, some games, some worker placement games, you just feel like you're all playing a solo game, but just sitting next to each other because you're doing, I'll do that, I'll do that, I'll do that, and then someone else's go, I'll do that, I'll do that, I'll do that, someone else's go, I'll do that, here everybody join in, I'll do that, I'll do that. And there's no feeling of player interaction. You know, I think Monopoly, for all its faults as an actual game, but that's only because of games have evolved over the years, there is player interaction, because you land on someone's hotel or land on their property and you go, oh no, right, here we go. So there is player interacting. Sing along, exactly. Sing along. I'll do that, I'll do that, I'll do that. Right, it's your turn. So at least there's player interaction. That's the, you know, you got to, I feel when I play games, I like having that player interaction. But then that said, I have played games that haven't had a lot of player interaction, but I have still enjoyed. So it's, you know, it's that fine balance, isn't it? But I also like player interaction that feels like that is player interaction, but it's not the main thing. It's not too much. Because when you're doing a worker placement game, you do want to be able to achieve what you set out to achieve. But as the designer, you've got to make it so that it's hard to achieve those things. Yeah? Because otherwise it's not a game. You might as well just then go, right, what did you want out of this? Well, I wanted, you know, £20,000. Okay, there you go. Well done. You've won. You know, it's like you've got to have that challenge. It's the same with the game book. You can't make it impossible to win. You want the players to reach their goal and win, but at the same time, if you're a player, if you're the reader, you want it to be a challenge. You want it to go, oh no, am I going to die on this one? You know, I've had it where where we've done live streams where we're down to like our last 2 stamina, and we're like, or even the 1 stamina, and they're down to 1 stamina. It's like, right, yes, we won, yeah. You know, there's that feeling. So it's like charades with songs, says Leran, except you must keep the actual lyrics concealed behind sung metaphors and see if the other players can guess the actual song. Yes. So if I was to do, I don't know the tune of that. But so what you're saying is, say you did a song, yeah, like Dirty Dancing, the lyrics would be something like, clean, clean movement. I don't know how to sing it. I don't know the song, but just dropping in, say hello. Hello, Julian. Hello. Only have 5 minutes. I hope that your virtuosity, to villain arc is measured in chains forged. Each step to the dark side is another change forged. Absolutely, Julian. You've got it. That's why I picked, not only why I picked Christmas Carol to do as a game, because I want the player to decide how they're going to play. So I'm going to have it where you can win as a miserly, miserly old person. However, that's harder to win, and is it really a victory? Where it's going to be easier to win if you go the virtuous way. But yeah, chains forged, absolutely. I was thinking it would be quite cool if you actually could have little chains that you clip together. Yeah, and that when you get rid of one, yeah. So, but just to let you know, just in case you didn't know, Julian, yes, the hardbacks are here. We knew that already, but the paperbacks have arrived. Very happy with them. They look very good. Very happy. Smell like a paperback. If you do a good deed, you lose a chain. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've got on the board, there's areas where you can do good deeds, or there's areas where it's more selfish and you're kind of doing more for yourself. So I'm going to have various different Christmas Carol spots where, it'll be it's almost like if you've got nowhere else to go, you could go there and gain a virtue point. Sounds great on both fronts. Yes, thank you. So, yes, so that is my Christmas Carol game. So that is the next big thing that I want to start doing. I think I've shown this before, but I did order Charles Dickens, a walk with Charles Dickens through A Christmas Carol, because I did find out by reading the book very closely, rereading it, I've read it a couple of times before, but very closely reading it, that Bob Cratchit actually lives in Camden Town. And also, Scrooge's offices are actually in a place called Cornhill. So I thought, because I did want the board to be a map of London. So I'm going to sort of fictionalise the map of London, stylize it, but have those two places in the actual game, just to, again, immerse yourself in the, really makes you feel like you're in the novel, is what I'm after. So yes, flat cat, fat cats. Lyrian mentioned flat cat, fat cat. Yeah, it's been going very well, the play testing, and again, it's really interesting seeing how you can tweak a game to improve it. So I want to play test it a couple more times because I've got one idea that I think will work. And then one idea that may work, or it might be another module of how to play the game, like an alternate set of rules. So at the moment, there are flat cats and fat cats. And then there are kind of what we're going to call special cards. And the special cards are things like bats, black cats. There's a black cat. Bats, rats, and black cats are the special cards. Now, the version that we've been playing so far is that you play any card of the same type. However, as an improvement, to speed up the game, what I'm going to suggest is that you can play one cat card or as many cat cards of the same type, and then you can play a special card or as many special cards of the same type. So that's, so rather than going, okay, I'm going to play a blue flat cat card. There you go, that's a point to me, and that'd be the end of your go. you would then say, and I'm also playing a bat card to do whatever that bat card does, you know, or I'm playing a black cat card, which is a special card, which loses other players' cards. And I think that will be more satisfying go. Plus, also, it would mean that that you're getting rid of more cards. Because one end condition of the game is each player gets their own deck of cards, and you play through. You actually have them face up. One end condition is when one player, you know, has gone through all of their cards, they can't draw any up. That's the end of the game. Was that a bat card? Is he named Bruce or Wayne? Well, he's actually a blind bat. He's a blind bat. Yeah. You can call him what you like, but he actually is like a defense card. So if somebody plays a black cat on you, the black cat sits on your comfy mat, scaring away your flat cats, and your flat cats are the ones that score you points. However, if you have a blind bat, as soon as someone plays a black cat on you, you can play a blind bat to scare the black cat away. However, if you haven't got a blind bat, but you've got a rancid rat, you can play a rancid rat to get rid of your black cat by playing a rancid rat on another player, and the black cat will follow the rancid rat because it thinks it's going to be tasty. And then the other player, he's played a blinder. The other player then has to deal with the black cat. They will be losing points, flat cat points. So there you go. So potentially the black cat could move around. You know, that's my thinking on that one, because they're sort of rogue cats. So that's the next rule change I want to implement, where you can play two types of cards. Then I also want to play a version where normally you get shuffled these randomly. So I might have more flat cats in my deck than someone else. But I'm going to do a version where everybody gets the same amount of cards, like the same deck. Everyone gets the same deck of cards. So I want to try that version. So we'll see how that goes. So there we go. And I've got these little adorable cat tokens. Look at these little adorable cat tokens. Because I thought, you know, if you're going to do this, you might as well have a nice cat token. You get player mats. You've got a... Anyway, let's not go into that. So meow. Yes, so flat cat has come along quite nicely. Very happy with that. And it is interesting because I didn't know how many cards. I had loads of cards to begin with. Meow, please. Oh, meow pulls. Meow pulls. Oh, meow pulls. Yeah, could call them meow pulls. Meow pulls. Cat pulls. Pussy pulls. Feline pulls. No. Feeples. Feeples. What? Capples? No. Just cat tokens. How about that? Meowples. That almost works. That almost works. Yeah, capples. I know, with Guildlands, I coined the phrase geeples for guild people. Yeah, guild peoples. Geeples. The publisher, they got scared. They got scared because of that whole... Was it Z-Man or somebody? Yeah, Z-Man Games, you know, going, right, no, we're going to challenge anyone that uses the word meeple. There it is. There's Jonathan. Have you just been lurking, my friend? How are you? Pussballs. Pussballs. Pussballs? I feel like we're coming up with new diseases. Oh, Jonathan's been driving. Have you had it on in the background then? Is that how the young people do it these days? Or have you just joined us? Either way. Yeah, oh, you've had it in the back? Oh, that's very kind of you, Jonathan. I appreciate that. Hopefully you're doing well. So you know that I've got the paperback version and the hardback version of To Kill a Thief. You know about that. That's all good. Look at these bad boys. Whew. I've just arrived, in Loquacious to give a talk. Oh, I think I saw that advertised. Yeah. That's fantastic. How to Write a Game Book by none other than Sir Ian Jonathan Livingston Green. Has anyone actually ever seen Ian and Jonathan in the same room together? Because I think one and the same people. No, fantastic. Yeah. How to Write a Game Book. I'm expecting about 3 people. Oh, yeah. I've given sort of like workshops, and you do just have to go, yeah, okay, this is what we're working with. You might be pleasantly surprised. Obviously, you know it depends on how well they've advertised it, because the chances of you having friends that can come along to it in that area presumably are very slim. So it just depends on how well they've advertised the event. So don't feel bad, obviously, because I've done that where I've given workshops. Actually, there was about 10 people, which isn't too bad, is it? Julian's put it here. It could be a new game, the Dictionary of Diseases. You have 1.5 card, and you put them together with another card. People score accordingly. Yeah, I would like to think, though, that would be a good card game where you have to match up cures for diseases. It could be medieval, disgusting diseases, yeah. I like the idea of that, actually. It's on the north coast of Somerset. Not the biggest place. Copyright, Jay, he's got it in there. He's got it in there straight away. Yeah, did I have an idea like that? In my ideas bag, I've got an ideas folder. I might have had an idea, something like that. But yeah, disgusting diseases where you have to cure them. Yeah, go for it. The thing is, though, sometimes you come up with ideas and then it's like, yeah, but I'm working on 7 projects at a time already. I've also got a Dick Turpin idea game that we're thinking of doing. Anywho, well, there we go. Yeah, we've been rambling on for an hour. Look at that. So good luck with your talk, Jonathan. I'm sure you'll smash it, obviously. Exciting. Just been to the Poison Garden at Anwick 2 days ago. Well, hopefully you're feeling well and you're feeling okay and didn't touch anything, or if you did, you wore thick gloves. Yeah, there we go. Leaving and Julian wishing you good luck. Did you, I take it, you were invited along? Touch nothing. Yeah. I didn't even go to the cafe. I didn't trust them. Were you invited along then? Is it a library? Tell us who it is. Who was? Hey, it's gone. It's gone. Got to give the talk. Right. Spell Singers, but good luck in the talk, Mr. Green. Will they record it? Oh, for those that cannot send, that's a good idea. Yeah. You could put it out for your socials, Jonathan. Put it out for your socials. There we are. So, should we wrap it up there? I know there's a bit of a lag, so when I ask a question, people either decide to ignore it, which is probably most of the time, or there's a bit of a lag. So, yes, Right, time for me to go. Happy weekend, or yes. I think we're all going to wrap it up now. Good luck, John, with your talk. You're going to smash it. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. Thank you, Lerin. Thank you, Julian. Thank you, Spellsing. Thank you, Sally. Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Jonathan. I didn't realise you were watching. Thank you, Spellsing. Good night, everybody, says Lerin. Yes, good night to you. Thank you so much. Do appreciate it. It's always nice on a Saturday morning just to have this little ramble, this little chat, this little cosy chat with some like-minded friends. Take care all. Cheers, Ken. Yeah, you're more than welcome. Till Thursday, early morning. Yes, yeah, Wednesday. I'm pretty sure it's on again this Wednesday. I know I have a rehearsal, but it's not this Wednesday. Yeah, I've got a rehearsal one Wednesday, but I think it's in a couple of weeks' time for a murder mystery. Anyway, yes, this Wednesday, 7:15. If I can make it at 7 o'clock, I will do so, but we won't start until 7:15. So be aware, I might come on earlier, I might not, but 7:15, hopefully that'll be the latest. 3:15 Taiwanese time, yes. So if you're in Taiwan, check it out. So yes, we're going to do part 4 or part 5, I can't remember now. Part 5 of Sorcery, Book 2. Nair, City Port of Traps. Be there or be a square, absolutely. Take care, everybody, and remember, may your thieving never be caught. That'd be a good thumb, wouldn't it, that? Bye, everybody.